Greetings, and welcome to this haunting Halloween special of Midnight Archives. On this most spectral of nights, we dare to tread where others fear to lurk, venturing into the darkest corners of the Philippine wilderness. Steel your nerves, for we are about to plunge into a world where nightmares take flesh, the realm of cryptids. These are the beasts that haunt the edges of reality, creatures whispered about in terrified tones around flickering campfires, yet eluding the grasp of scientific scrutiny. Welcome back to Midnight Archives. We journey into the abyss, where urban legends breathe, the paranormal beckons, and fear finds its home. Join our community of brave souls by liking, subscribing, and hitting that notification bell. As the midnight hour approaches, the archives await your presence. Let's begin. But first, what exactly are cryptids? These are animals or beings whose existence is unproven by science, yet persistently reported by eyewitnesses. They occupy the tantalizing space between reality and imagination, fact and fiction. In this video, we will be exploring the Philippine Cryptids Iceberg, a visual representation of these enigmatic entities arranged from the most well-known at the surface to the most obscure lurking in the depths below. We'll start with familiar faces before descending into the murky waters of the lesser-known legends. As we plunge deeper, we'll encounter creatures that even most Filipinos may not recognize, beings whispered about in remote villages or half-forgotten in ancient tales. So, dim the lights, settle in, and prepare to journey with us through the mysterious world of Philippine cryptids. You never know what might be lurking just beyond the edge of your vision. Ready to uncover the hidden horrors? Let's dive into the depths of the Philippine Cryptids Iceberg. Let's start at the surface with some of the most well-known cryptids. The aswang is perhaps the most infamous of all Philippine cryptids. This shape-shifting terror is known to prey on pregnant women and children. By day, they appear as ordinary humans, but at night, their true nature is revealed. Aswangs are said to have long tube-like tongues that they use to suck the fetuses out of pregnant women. Creepy, right? But don't worry too much. They have weaknesses. Garlic and religious artifacts are said to repel them, and they're at their weakest during daylight hours. If you're intrigued by the aswang and want to learn more about these fascinating creatures from Philippine folklore, be sure to check out our video, Aswang for Dummies. Link is somewhere on the screen. Next up is the manananggal, a specific type of aswang that's particularly nightmare-inducing. This creature has the ability to separate its upper body from its lower half, sprouting bat-like wings to fly through the night. The manananggal is often depicted as a hideous female without a lower body. Its favorite snack? The hearts of unborn children. This cryptid is especially popular in the Visayan regions of the Philippines and shares some similarities with European vampires, like its aversion to garlic and salt. Curious about the terrifying creature that splits in half and takes to the skies at night? Dive deeper into its chilling legend with our video, Manananggal, the Queen of Philippine Monsters. Click the link on the screen to explore more about this iconic figure of Filipino folklore. Moving on another level 1 cryptid, we find the capre. Imagine a giant hairy creature with glowing red eyes, sitting in a tree and smoking a massive cigar. That's a capre for you. These nocturnal beings are known for their strong body odor and love of playing pranks on humans. If you ever gotten lost in the woods, a mischievous capre might be to blame. They are said to disorient travelers, making them lose their way in forests and mountains. Next, we have the tikbalang, a creature that looks like it came straight out of a fever dream. Picture a being with the head of a horse, but the body of a human. Now, make it incredibly tall with limbs so long that its knees reach above its head when it squats. Like the capre, tikbalangs are known for leading travelers astray in dense forests. They're often associated with dark, overgrown areas, so watch out the next time you're hiking in the Philippines. Did you know there's a way to tame the tikbalang, the mythical creature of the Philippines? Discover the secrets in our video, How to Tame a Tikbalang, Filipino version of centaurs. We're adding the link somewhere on the screen, so be sure to check it out for an intriguing dive into this fascinating folklore. As we dive deeper, we encounter the duwende, also known as Nuno sa Punso or Elders of the Mound. These small gnome-like creatures are often found near anthills or termite mounds. Don't let their size fool you. These beings are believed to possess powerful magic. They can bring either good or bad fortune, depending on how they're treated. In Filipino culture, they're often depicted as small elderly figures who command great respect. Last one on the level 1 of our iceberg, we find the multo. This term refers to the spirits of the dead who appear to the living. Whether it's unfinished business or a thirst for revenge, these ghosts are a common feature in Philippine folklore. Multo sightings are often associated with eerie and supernatural occurrences. So if you're ever in the Philippines and experience something unexplainable, you might have just encountered a multo. Now that we've explored the surface of our Philippine Cryptids Iceberg, it's time to dive deeper into the murky waters of folklore. Welcome to Level 2, where we will encounter some lesser known than Level 1 but still well-known cryptids. First up on our Level 2 is the peculiar sigbin. Imagine a creature that's part goat, part dog with no horns and enormous ears that can clap like hands. Oh, and did I mention it walks backwards with its head between its hind legs? The sigbin is a nocturnal predator with a taste for human blood. But here's the twist. It sucks blood from your shadow. Some say witches keep sigbins as pet for good luck. So, if you're in the Philippines and smell something foul while hearing hand clapping at night, you might be in the presence of a sigbin. Next on our list is the terrifying wakwak. This vampiric bird-like creature is the stuff of nightmares, with razor-sharp claws and fangs perfect for devouring its prey, or just their hearts if it's feeling picky. The wakwak gets its name from the sound it makes while flying. If you hear a wakwak sound at night, it might be too late. But don't worry, like many creatures in Philippine folklore, it can be repelled by salt, garlic, or holy water. Moving on to the waters, we encounter the enchanting sirena. Think of the classic mermaid, but with a Filipino twist. These half-human, half-fish creatures are known for their mesmerizing voices that lure unsuspecting fishermen to their doom. But it's not all bad. Some stories portray sirenas as guardians of the waters, protecting them from invaders. With their long flowing hair and connection to the moon, sirenas are some of the more beautiful creatures in Philippine mythology. Staying in the water, we find the shokoy. These green-skinned scaly mermen are the stuff of many a fisherman's tale. With webbed hands and feet, they're perfectly adapted to life underwater. But don't let their human-like appearance fool you. Shokoys are known to be seductive predators, particularly targeting women and children near bodies of water. So next time you're at a Philippine beach, keep an eye out for any suspiciously handsome green men. Now, prepare yourself for one of the creepiest creatures on our list, the tiyanak. This vampiric being disguises itself as an innocent baby to lure in kind-hearted victims. But once picked up, it transforms into a monstrous creature and attacks. The tiyanak is known for its ability to mimic the cries of human infants perfectly. In Philippine folklore, they're often associated with the spirits of unbaptized babies. So, if you hear a baby crying in an unusual place, think twice before investigating. Our next entry isn't exactly a creature, but a person with supernatural abilities. The mangkukulam is a practitioner of kulam, traditional Filipino witchcraft. These individuals are believed to have the power to cast spells, curses, and hexes. Feared for their supposed supernatural powers, mangkukulams are often associated with malevolent spirits and creatures. In many Filipino communities, they are the go-to explanation for unexplainable misfortunes or illnesses. Curious about the mysterious world of mangkukulam? Did you know there are 5 distinct types of these Philippine witches? Dive deeper into their intriguing practices and cultural significance in our video, 5 Types of Mangkukulam, Philippine Witches. We'll add the link on the screen, so be sure to check it out after this video. Last but not least on our level 2 exploration is the ominous tik-tik. This bird-like creature is named after the distinct sound it makes, a foreboding tik-tik that's said to be an omen of misfortune or even death. The tik-tik is deeply connected to the spirit world and is considered a harbinger of doom. So, if you're in the Philippines and hear a strange ticking sound at night, it might not be your clock. It could be a tik-tik warning of impending tragedy or an aswang nearby. Prepare yourselves for level 3, the moderately known cryptids. These beings may not be household names, but they're the stuff of whispered tales and local legends across the Philippine archipelago. From insect-commanding sorcerers to shape-shifting vampires, we're about to encounter some of the intriguing and chilling entities in Filipino mythology. First up is the Mambabarang, a witch with a twist. Unlike their spellcasting cousins, the Mangkukulams, these sorcerers have a peculiar method of inflicting harm. They use insects. Mambabarangs are said to be ordinary people with extraordinary dark powers. They bind insects to strands of their victim's hair, creating a creepy, crawly weapon of vengeance. So if you're in the Philippines and notice an unusual number of bugs around you, it might not just be the tropical climate. Next, we have the ethereal San Telmo, also known as Saint Elmo's fire. Imagine a mysterious ball of fire floating over swamps or bodies of water during a thunderstorm. That's San Telmo for you. But this isn't just a natural phenomenon. In Philippine folklore, San Telmo is believed to be the spirit of someone who died in that location. These fiery orbs can be vengeful, luring unsuspecting followers to their doom. The good news: a simple prayer might help these lost souls find their way to the afterlife. Moving on to some of the more benevolent beings in our list, the Encantos and Diwatas. These supernatural entities are like supermodels of the spirit world, incredibly attractive, sweet-smelling, and notably lacking a philtrum. That's the groove between your nose and upper lip, folks. Encantos and Diwatas are deeply respected in Philippine mythology. They're associated with nature and ancestral spirits and can bring either great fortune or terrible misfortune. So if you stumble upon an impossibly beautiful person in the Philippine wilderness, be extra polite. You might be dealing with an encanto. Now let's scale things up with the Bakunawa, a massive moon-eating serpent dragon. This creature is often blamed for eclipses in Philippine mythology. But there is more to this celestial serpent than meets the eye. Some myths paint Bakunawa as a jilted sea goddess transformed into a dragon after a love gone wrong. The Minokawa is a colossal dragon-like bird from Philippine mythology, believed to be so massive that it could swallow the sun, explaining eclipses. In a Bagobo tale, the Minokawa is depicted as a bird size of an island with feathers as sharp as swords, eyes that reflect like mirrors, and a beak and legs made of steel. This formidable creature resides outside the sky at the eastern horizon. In contrast, the Bawa is said to live above the sky, where Visayans believe there is a cave known as Kalulundan, its entrance shrouded in blue smoke. The story of the eclipse and Minokawa goes like this. In ancient times, a colossal bird known as the Minokawa swallowed the moon, causing panic among the people who screamed and made noise to drive it away. Curious about the commotion, the Minokawa opened its mouth, allowing the moon to escape. This immense bird, as large as the island of Negros or Bohol, has a steel beak and claws, mirror-like eyes, and feathers sharp as swords. It lurks outside the sky at the eastern horizon, waiting to capture the moon as it travels across the sky. To evade the Minokawa's grasp, the moon uses 8 hidden holes in the eastern horizon to emerge and 8 in the western horizon to retreat. The Minokawa attempts to swallow the moon just as it is about to reappear. If the Minokawa were to succeed in devouring both the moon and the sun, it might descend to Earth to consume humans as well. During these celestial events, the Bagobo people scream, cry, and beat gongs in fear of being eaten. This noise distracts the Minokawa, prompting it to open its mouth in curiosity, allowing the moon to make its escape once more. Anito refers to the spirits, deities, and ancestor spirits central to indigenous Philippine religions, a term first used in 1784 from Spanish and Tagalog influences. Anitos can also be represented by carved figures known as tao-tao made from materials like wood, stone, or ivory. These spirits exist on 3 levels: deities or gods, benevolent or malevolent spirits, and the souls of the deceased. Anitos are ambiguous and can be either protective or harmful. Found near villages, gardens, and forests, they might bring blessings and aid or cause misfortune and illness, reflecting the dual nature of these spiritual beings in Filipino folklore. Let's brighten things up with the sari manok, a legendary bird that's like a mashup between a rooster and a fish. With its vibrant colors and unique appearance, the sari manok is considered a symbol of good fortune and protection. You'll often see this mythical bird depicted in traditional Philippine art and architecture. So if you're ever in the Philippines and spot a colorful scaly rooster motif, now you know. It's not just funky interior design, it's a sari manok. Prepare for some sleepless nights as we introduce the Batipat, a malevolent spirit that's basically the personification of sleep paralysis. This nightmare creature is often associated with old trees and is said to suffocate its victim in their sleep. In Ilocano folklore, we find the lobo. And no, we're not talking about wolves here. This lobo is a giant dog that guards the entrance to the underworld. But don't expect any Cerber-style 3 heads here. This crafty canine prefers to lure its victims by appearing as a beautiful woman. The Agda might sound familiar. It's another name for our old friend, the Capre. This tall, dark humanoid with fiery red eyes is often seen as a protector of forests and mountains. So, while the Agda might look terrifying, it's actually more of an environmental guardian than a threat. Just don't mess with its trees, okay? If you thought Bigfoot was scary, wait till you hear about the Amomongo. This giant man-eating ape-like creature is said to inhabit remote areas of the Philippines. Known for its ferocity, the Amomongo is the stuff of nightmares for travelers in secluded regions. If you're planning a hike in the Philippine wilderness, maybe stick to the well-trodden paths. Mandurugo, a shape-shifting vampire that puts a whole new spin on love bites. Often appearing as a beautiful woman, the Mandurugo lures its victims before revealing its true blood-sucking form. So if you're in the Philippines and a mysterious beauty invites you for a late-night rendezvous, maybe check for fangs first. The Tambaloslos is a monstrous creature in Philippine mythology. It has a dark and frightening appearance with a large mouth and a huge. It is said to lurk in the dark and attack travelers, though some believe that the creature actually causes people to become lost. The Tambaloslos is the embodiment of lust and is said to assault its victims. In some stories, it will be satisfied if it is shown breasts or private parts. But in others, it will immediately those it captures. It is said to attack indiscriminately, assaulting women, men, and even chickens. Prepare yourselves for level 4 of our Cryptid Iceberg, the lesser-known cryptids. In this level, we'll encounter entities so obscure that information about them is as elusive as the creatures themselves. These are the cryptids that haunt the most remote islands, the deepest caves, and the oldest forgotten stories of the Philippines. As we explore these lesser-known beings, remember, just because they're not famous, doesn't mean they're any less terrifying. In fact, their obscurity might make them even more dangerous. After all, how can you protect yourself from something you've never even heard of? First up, we have the balbal, a nightmarish fusion of vampire and ghoul. Imagine an undead creature with bat-like wings, sharp claws, and an insatiable hunger for corpses. The balbal's modus operandi is truly chilling. It steals bodies from graves using its unnaturally long tongue to devour the flesh. But here's the kicker. It leaves a banana tree trunk in the coffin as a decoy. Talk about a body snatcher. If you're worried about encountering a balbal, keep your flashlights handy. These undead terrors are scared of light and loud noises, so a good scream might just save your life. Next, we have the berberoka, a water monster with a truly unique hunting strategy. This ogre-like creature is the bane of fishermen across the Philippines. Picture this. You're fishing in a peaceful river, when suddenly, all of the water disappears. That's the berberoka at work. It can suck up entire bodies of water, trapping its prey before releasing a massive wave to drown them. But nature has a way of balancing things out. The mighty berberoka has one surprising weakness. It's terrified of crabs. So, next time you're fishing in the Philippines, maybe pack a crab or two for protection. Now, brace yourselves for perhaps the most disturbing creature on our list, the matrukulan. This entity is a ghoul with a particularly horrifying appetite for unborn children. The matrukulan is said to be an invisible spirit that virgin women while they sleep. Later, it returns to, well, let's just say it's not a happy ending for mother or child. Protection from the matrukulan is steeped in folklore. Some say swinging a butterfly knife over a pregnant woman's belly during labor can ward off this malevolent spirit. It's a chilling reminder of the fears and superstitions surrounding childbirth in traditional Philippine culture. Alan, deformed winged spirits that seem to have gotten their anatomy all mixed up. With fingers and toes pointing backward, these forest-dwelling creatures are as bizarre as they are creepy. Alans are known for their mischievous nature, but don't let that fool you. They can be malevolent when they want to be. These grotesque beings are the stuff of nightmares for anyone wandering alone in the Philippine forests. Bungis-ngis, a one-eyed giant with a perpetual grin. Hailing from Bataan, this 10 to 20 foot tall humanoid gets its name from the Tagalog word for to giggle. But don't let its constant laughter fool you. With large teeth always on display, 2 long tusks, and a single eye in the middle of its forehead, the bungis-ngis is more nightmare fuel than comedy act. Next, we venture to Palawan to meet the mantabungal, a beast that proves herbivores can be just as terrifying as carnivores. This cow-like creature might eat plants, but it has a violent hatred for anything human-shaped. With a shaggy coat reaching the ground and 4 massive incisors, the mantabungal tears its victims to shreds before moving on to destroy any man-made structures. Not to be confused with the mantabungal, the mantahungal is another beast known to the Tagbanuas. While similar in appearance, this creature is explicitly described as evil. with the body and sound of a cow, but sporting a horrifying mouth with large tusk-like fangs. The mantahongal is said to lurk in mountainous forests. Any unfortunate human crossing its path is likely to end up in pieces. It's enough to make you think twice about the jungle trek. Moving to the waters around Cebu, we encounter the gugdong, a fishtail that's more horror than fantasy. This isn't your average grouper. Locals claim it's large enough to swallow a person whole. Some versions of the legend say it's mutated from industrial waste, while others claim it's fed human sacrifices for good luck. While giant groupers do exist, none have been confirmed to reach man-eating size. But in the murky waters around Lapu-Lapu City, who knows what might be lurking? This cryptid takes us to the deep seas of Western Visayas. The mamaliu is a sea snake of monstrous proportions with a body as thick as a water buffalo's. Sporting either massive white horns or impressive tusks, armored scales, and eyes that glow like torches, the mamaliu is a true sea monster. Its angry bellows are said to echo like thunder across the waters. With reported sightings as recent as 2007, who's to say this creature isn't still out there patrolling the depths around Panay and Negros Islands? First, we slither into the realm of giant pythons. While reticulated pythons are known to be massive, these legendary serpents are said to reach lengths up to 70 feet. The Agdan Negrito tribes of Luzon Island have harrowing tales of these monstrous snakes. With a quarter of their men bearing scars from python attacks and 6 confirmed fatalities between 1934 and 1973, these aren't just campfire stories. One chilling account tells of a python that killed 2 children and was in the process of devouring a third when it was slain. Who knows what other giant serpents might be coiled in the depths of Philippine jungles? Next, we dive into the murky waters of Agusan del Sur, home of the infamous Lolong, once the largest crocodile in captivity at over 20 feet long. But locals whisper of an even larger beast lurking in these waters. Reports persist of a monster female crocodile, estimated to be more than 30 feet long, still roaming the Agusan River. Could this elusive giant be responsible for the string of attacks that have terrorized the region for decades? The hunt continues, but so far, this aquatic titan remains at large. From the Zambales region comes the tale of the Pinatubo monster. Described as a huge black serpentine creatures, these beasts have been spotted swimming in the Ticas River since 2002. Local Aita tribesmen report sightings of animals up to 7 feet long and 3 feet wide, unlike any eel, fish, or snake they've ever seen. With Lake Pinatubo, the country's deepest lake, formed after a volcanic eruption in 1991, who knows what prehistoric creatures might have been awakened? Now we encounter the berbalang, a chilling fusion of vampire and ghoul. These winged creatures may look human at first glance, but their slanted eyes and gruesome appetite for corpses reveal their true nature. Grave robbers of the worst kind. Berbalangs dig up the dead to feast on their remains. So if you're wandering through a Filipino cemetery at night and hear the flap of wings, you might want to run fast. From the Ilocos region comes the pugot, or the decapitated one. The shape-shifting fiend can appear as various animals or even humans, but its true form is that of a gigantic headless being. While the pugot might seem terrifying, it's relatively harmless to humans. Its strangest quirk? A fondness for stealing women's underwear from clotheslines. The Sarangay brings us face to face with a Philippine version of the Minotaur. Half man, half water buffalo, This creature sports a precious jewel in its ear that it guards fiercely. Woe to any would-be jewel thieves. The sarangay is known for its merciless retribution, and when enraged, smoke billows from its nostrils. It's a reminder that in Philippine folklore, not all treasure is meant to be found. The Tamawo presents us with a chilling twist on the elf archetype. These malevolent beings sport striking albino features, including pale skin that shimmers in sunlight, light hair, and fangs. Often found near bodies of water, Tamawo are notorious for abducting young women. Their unusual appearance, including pointed leaf-shaped ears and a lack of philtrum, makes them as uncanny as they are dangerous. The Amalanhig brings us face to face with the Philippine version of the undead. These flightless aswang rise from their graves either as a failed aswang or vengeful spirits with unfinished business. With stiff legs and a rotting stench, Amalanhig are relentless in their pursuit of victims. They're known for their mimicry and their gruesome method of attack, tickling their prey to death while sucking out their life force. Remember, if chased by an Amalanhig, head for crooked trees or bodies of water. Kataw, the ruling class of merfolk in Visayan mythology. Unlike their siren cousins, Kataw sport feet instead of tails along with gills and arm fins. Don't be fooled by their human-like appearance. These aquatic rulers are known to lure mortals to a watery grave. With the power to control water elements and even turn water to ice, the Kataw are formidable guardians of their underwater kingdom. Just when you thought we'd reached the bottom of our level 4 cryptid iceberg, let's plunge deeper. First, we soar to the heights of Higaonon myth with the Galuda, a titanic bird that quite literally holds up the sky with its talons. Its massive wings are said to create the strong winds that buffer our mortal world. In Kapampangan mythology, a different Galuda serves as a winged assistant to the god Aring Sinukuan. Represented by a giant eagle, this Galuda is believed to be the bringer of storms. So the next time you hear thunder, remember, it might just be the Galuda flapping its colossal wings. Slithering in from Hiligaynon mythology, we encounter the Markupo, a giant serpent that is as bizarre as it is terrifying. With a prominent red crest, a long tongue covered in thorn-like hairs, sharp tusks, and a forked tail, the Markupo is a sight to behold. But beware, this monstrous snake can spit venom like a cobra. And if you're hiking in heavily forested mountains and hear sonars singing on a quiet day, you might be in Markupo territory. Not to be confused with Sigbin, this creature, a flesh-eating werebeast with a deadly touch. With its ambiguous appearance and large round ears, people struggle to tell its head from its tail, a confusion that proves fatal for its victims. The Sigbin's attack is as swift as it is lethal. A mere lick from its tongue means certain death, followed by being devoured. If you hear the flapping of large ears approaching, arm yourself with spices and sharp knives. They are said to keep the Sigbin at bay. Prepare yourselves for level 5 of our Philippine Cryptid Iceberg. The most obscure cryptids, monsters, and mythological creatures. We are now entering a realm where even the whispers fall silent. These are the creatures that lurk in the forgotten corners of Philippine mythology, the beings that even most folklore experts might not know about. In this last level, we'll encounter entities so obscure that information about them is as rare as the creatures themselves. As we explore these lesser-known beings, remember, their obscurity makes them all the more intriguing. These are the creatures that have managed to stay hidden not just from sight, but from whispered knowledge itself. They represent the deepest, darkest corners of Philippine mythology and cryptozoology. First, we encounter the Taawi, a large, hideous humanoid that strikes terror into the hearts of Maranao hunters. Despite its size, the Taawi is incredibly agile with thunderous voice that echoes through the forests. This village-raiding monster devours people alive, but, oddly enough, leaves their eyeballs untouched. Perhaps even the Taawi has its limits when it comes to cuisine. Next, we venture into the realm of carnivorous flora with the death-dealing tree of Mindanao. Reported in 1925 by a Mississippi planter, this monstrous plant stands 35 feet tall and spans up to 100 feet in diameter. Surrounded by human bones and emitting a foul odor, this gray-colored tree is said to reach out its branches to ensnare unsuspecting victims. Is it a lost species of carnivorous plant, or merely the fevered imagination of an explorer? The region's inaccessibility due to conflict has left this mystery unsolved. The Busao presents us with a chilling twist on the ghoul archetype. By day, it appears human, even engaging in farming activities. But by night, it reveals its true horrifying nature. With pointed teeth, hooked nails, and a long tongue, the Busao steals corpses from graves, replacing them with banana tree trunks. It then feasts on the dead and attempts to turn humans into ghouls by feeding them human flesh. Remember, if you're in Busao territory, keep salt and vinegar handy. The Dalaketnon brings us face to face with malevolent elf-like beings. These encantos are known for their striking appearance, males with pale skin and dark hair, females with bronze skin and brown hair. Don't be fooled by their ethereal beauty. These creatures are known for luring and abducting unsuspecting humans. In the world of Philippine cryptids, beauty can often be the most dangerous disguise. The Gisurab from Isnag mythology introduces us to a fire-wielding giant. Little is known about this cryptid, but its association with fire suggests a being of immense power and potential destruction. From Ifugao lore comes the Inlabuut, a shape-shifting monster with a penchant for trickery. Able to transform into a handsome youth, this creature reminds us that in the world of cryptids, appearances can be dangerously deceiving. We have the Kaunting from Tiboli mythology, a magical horse with the ability to shrink to the size of a mouse when not being ridden. Owned by Komukul, son of supreme deities, the Kaunting represents the more whimsical side of Philippine cryptozoology. From Bukidnon myths comes the Intumbangil, two intertwined male and female snakes whose very movements shape the world around us. When they move, earthquakes rumble. When they breathe, winds howl. And when they pant, violent storms rage. In Manobo beliefs, a similar creature guards the pillar supporting the world. These mythical snakes remind us of the intricate connection between creatures and natural phenomena in Philippine folklore. The Bagobo people tell of Kayumang, a giant crab, and Kasili, a massive eel-like snake that wraps around the world. When the Kayumang bites Kasili, a great snake's wriggling causes earthquakes. Kasili, given life by the supreme deity during the world's creation, showcases how even the mightiest creature in Philippine mythology can be part of a greater cosmic balance. The tale of Lakivot brings us a huge talking civet with the strength to carry a person on its back. This clever creature defeated one-eyed ogres and garden-protecting ghouls in its quest for the flower of gold. But Lakivot's story doesn't end there. Upon the shaving of its civet eyebrow, it transformed into a handsome young man. The Pilandok presents us with two fascinating variations. In Mulbog beliefs, it's a mischievous, cunning, human-standing chevrotain, a trickster who's sometimes helpful. The Maranao version, however, depicts Pilandok as a human known for its cunning and mischief. This dual nature of Bilandok showcases the diversity of Philippine folklore even with a single character. The Patacoda, a gigantic stallion that appeared at the Pulangi River, brought misfortune and calamities with its presence. In contrast to the Patacoda, the wise white Pangantukan stallion saved its domain from massacre by uprooting a bamboo to alert tribesmen of an approaching enemy. The fearsome Rabot, a half-human, half-monster with the power to turn people into stone, represents the terrifying aspects of Philippine cryptids. Si Baranguyan, a benevolent giantess who aided a lost Isnag man. Her compassion, even in hiding the man from her potentially man-eating husband, shows that not all giants in Philippine folklore are to be feared. From Batak mythology comes the Tandayag, a colossal being that could be a whale, a giant fish, or a dragon. This creature's vital role? Closing the navel of the world, Burungan. If Tandayag isn't appeased and Burungan is left open, a catastrophic flood could wash away the entire universe. Only a shaman's spiritual journey aided by a sea turtle guide can prevent this apocalypse. The Mahumanay are otherworldly, handsome, elf-like males with pointy ears, fair skin, and long black hair, known for abducting women they fancy. From Manobo lore comes the Makaralig, a nearly invincible giant monster created by the evil god Ogasi. With a heart of stone, this creature seemed unstoppable until it's defeated by Batoy, after which its body became a mass of leeches. The Magindara are vicious creatures that lure men not just with their beauty, but with their enchanting voices. These siren-like beings captivate men not only to drown and devour them, embodying the deadly allure of beauty in Philippine folklore. The Naga, freshwater mermaids with snake-like lower bodies, are complex creatures in Philippine mythology. Vicious to adults but gentle to children, they're considered protectors of water sources and bringers of both fertility and natural disasters. These beings remind us of the dual nature of water, life-giving yet potentially destructive, reflected in mythological creatures. The Nanreben, a sea serpent from Negros, shares similarities with the Mamaliu. With torch-like eyes, buffalo-like horns, and nearly impenetrable scales, this creature embodies the terrifying aspects of the unknown depths. The Kinara, gentle winged beings with human upper bodies and bird-like lower halves, contrast with the shape-shifting Lambana. These small winged creatures can expand and temporarily lose their wings to imitate humans. These beings showcase the diversity of winged creatures in Philippine mythology, from the serene to the mischievous. From Ilocano lore comes the Olimaw, a gigantic winged phantom dragon serpent that seeks to swallow the moon. This creature embodies the cosmic struggles often depicted in Philippine mythology. These two dragons, slain by the epic hero Indara Patra, terrorized people across multiple mountain ranges. Their tale, while Islamized, retains indigenous elements showcasing the blending of beliefs in Philippine folklore. The Ba, a house-sized bird of prey from Maguindanaon lore, could spread its wings to cause darkness on the ground. Dwelling in Mount Bita and eastern Lanao, this creature represents the awe-inspiring and sometimes terrifying aspects of nature in Philippine mythology. Finally, we have the Tawong Lipod, invisible spirits ranging from wind divinities to malevolent shadows. These beings remind us that in Philippine folklore, the most dangerous entities are often those we cannot see. And there you have it, Midnight Archivers. We've journeyed through the depths of Philippine folklore, from the well-known creatures at the surface to the most obscure beings lurking in the darkest corners of mythology. As we conclude our descent through the Philippine Cryptids Iceberg, we are left with a profound appreciation for the rich tapestry of Filipino mythology. These creatures, whether feared or revered, all play a crucial role in the cultural heritage of the Philippines. But our journey doesn't have to end here. The world of cryptids is a vast and ever-expanding, and there's always more to discover. So, we turn to you. Did we miss any Philippine cryptids that you know about? Perhaps there's a local legend from your area that didn't make it into our iceberg. Or maybe you have a personal encounter with one of these mythical beings that you'd like to share. We'd love to hear your thoughts and stories in the comments below. Your input could help us uncover even more fascinating creatures for future explorations. And remember, keep your eyes open and your mind curious. After all, in the world of cryptids, the line between myth and reality is often blurrier than we think. Who knows what undiscovered creatures might be lurking in the unexplored corners of the Philippines? If you enjoyed this deep dive into Philippine cryptozoology, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with fellow mythology enthusiasts. Together, we can keep these fascinating stories alive for generations to come. Until next time, stay curious, stay brave, and always keep one eye on the shadows. For in the realm of Philippine cryptids, the most incredible discoveries might be yet to come. Happy Halloween!
Excuse me.